At first light, the cliff seems empty. But high above the grasslands, a hunter is already watching. From here, almost every movement below can be measured against distance, wind, and opportunity. The hunt begins without warning. One moment he is stone still, the next, the cliff is behind him. Lanners often hunt birds in the open, where a chase can change direction in an instant.
Speed alone is not enough. Many pursuits end exactly like this too, with the quarry still flying, and the falcon forced to begin again.
Failure costs energy, but it changes nothing. The country is still moving, and somewhere within it, another chance will appear.
Eventually, precision finds its moment. The reward is small cone, but enough to carry back toward the cliff. The pair may spend much of the day apart, yet both are tied to the same cliff, a fixed point in a landscape measured in flight. Food can also pass between the pair. A simple exchange beck, brief, practical, and easily missed from the valley below. For breeding, the cliff offers something the open country cannot: height, shelter, and a narrow place where the next generation can begin. There is little construction here. The ledge itself becomes the nest, shaped only by stone, dust, and repeated use. Once incubation begins, the rhythm of the cliff slows. Long hours pass with almost no visible change. Care is shared in brief exchanges, each departure opening a small window for feeding, stretching, and flight. 3 eggs now occupy the shallow scrape. For a time, their only visible task is to remain still beneath the changing light. The first sign is almost imperceptible, a hairline crack, then a movement from within. A newly hatched falcon is small, weak, and almost entirely dependent on the shelter above it. With young now on the ledge, every departure has a purpose. Food must be found somewhere beyond the cliff. The journey back ends in a narrow landing, where speed must become precision once again.
The first meals are tiny. Each one is delivered piece by piece, while the chick can do little more than raise its head and swallow.
Growth comes in small increments. Down gives way to new feathers, and movements that were once impossible begin to appear. The wings are changing faster than the skill to use them. For now, every movement is practice.
The edge has always been part of the nest. Now, for the first time, it begins to mean something else.
There is no ceremony at the edge, only wind, distance, and a movement the young falcon has never made before.
The first landing is rarely elegant. Balance comes before confidence, and confidence before control. Flight comes first. Hunting takes longer. The movements are familiar, but timing still has to be learned.
The first flight is not independence. That comes slowly, through distance, missed chances, and hours of watching.
Before a hunt can be precise, flight itself must become economical. Every turn costing less, every correction arriving sooner.
Not every lesson begins with pursuit. Sometimes, learning is simply the act of watching another bird disappear into the distance.
The gap is smaller this time. The result is the same. Skill is accumulating long before success becomes visible.
For today, the lesson ends here. Tomorrow, the same country will offer different winds, different chances, and the same demand for precision. Morning brings another kind of lesson. Before the first chase, there is the wind itself. Invisible, but never without consequence.
With each departure, the movements become less wasteful. A little more lift. A little less correction. Experience looks quieter from a distance. The adult wastes little movement before choosing whether a pursuit is worth beginning. The difference is not simply speed, it is anticipation pawn, knowing where the other bird may turn before it turns. The young falcon does not need to join every chase. Watching can reveal patterns that flight alone cannot. Another opportunity appears. The response is faster now, calm, but still not fast enough.
Not every hour is spent in pursuit. Heat imposes its own rhythm, and even a young hunter must sometimes wait.
Weather interrupts the lesson without warning.
For a few minutes, the cliff becomes shelter again. The rain leaves almost as quickly as it arrived. Feathers are reset, the light returns, and activity begins again.
The attempt still fails, but something has changed. The flight is cleaner, the correction quicker, and less energy is wasted.
The misses continue. But now, the young falcon is beginning to abandon a bad pursuit before it becomes costly. Learning to hunt is also learning when not to move. Some opportunities are too distant. Others arrive closer. The distance closes faster this time. For a few seconds, the pursuit begins to resemble the flights of an adult.
The ledge that once held eggs and downy chicks is becoming quieter. The family's life is spreading back into the wider landscape.
The young falcon still follows, not closely enough to be guided, but close enough for the patterns of flight to remain visible. Then, without warning, the opportunity belongs to the young bird alone. For the first time, the distance almost disappears. Almost.
A near miss changes little in the moment. There is no reward to carry away bay, only another pattern stored through repetition.
Success may begin before the chase itself, and in a pause, a shorter distance, and a better angle. This time, the distance closes completely. A small success count after many attempts that ended in empty air.
A capture is only the beginning. The young falcon must still secure the prey, remain alert, and learn what follows the chase. Even feeding requires practice. The movements are smaller now, slower, but they belong to the same process of becoming independent.
The load is small, but carrying it changes the flight. Balance must be adjusted again for her, this time with something held beneath the body. The landing is cleaner than the first. Not perfect cown, but controlled enough to keep hold of the reward.
For a while, the young falcon does nothing more than rest. Independence is built as much from pauses as from pursuit.
The family is still here, but the distances between them are growing. The nest is no longer the center of every movement. By morning, the pattern has shifted again. The young bird leaves alone, not because the learning is finished, but because
hunting is not a continuous chase. Much of it is searching, covering ground, choosing a perch, and waiting for movement. The choices are becoming more selective. Not every movement below demands a response.
Experience is beginning to alter the shape of the chase. The young falcon no longer follows every turn. Sometimes it takes a shorter line.
The line was better. The timing was better. But in the final seconds, the prey still found a way out. A failed chase no longer leaves the young falcon searching blindly. It settles quickly and begins watching again.
This time, the sequence holds together, fam. Approach, turn, contact. A small hunt completed without another bird beside it. The movements are more certain now. Secure the prey, feed briefly, look up again. Nothing here is wasted for long. The territory is beginning to feel larger. The cliff remains behind him, but it no longer defines every flight. New ground brings the same decisions. Watch, wait, ignore some chances, and commit to others. There is no clear moment when dependence ends. The change is quieter than that, measured in longer flights, fewer return test. The first flight was only a beginning. Independence came more slowly out, through mischances.